Have you heard about the SaaSpocalypse? Well, thousands of technology companies from around the world are finding themselves losing subscriptions, losing clients, all because of the massive adoption of AI. Instead of a company going out and buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of software for their teams, they're buying Claude subscriptions or ChatGPT, and everybody is building their own workflows, and it's kind of becoming a little bit of a chaos. But it's a business. It's the business of technology that is happening right now, where new technology is coming out to replace and displace older technology, and companies are having a hard time adapting. But it's not because of what you think. It's not because their technology isn't good. A lot of it is really good and better than it ever has been. And a lot of them incorporate AI as well. It's actually because the business model of SaaS is rewarded. So SaaS companies and founders, they're rewarded by subscriptions, by stickiness. The exact thing we talk about in my book about the vendor trap. These companies have been amazing at knowing that what they provide is the best solution out there for that particular market, use case, industry, customer, etc. And they've leveraged that to get sticky contracts. This is a term we used in my 20 years in SaaS, is sticky contracts. And it feels as the buyer as though you don't really have an alternative and you're already stuck with this 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year subscription. And it's kind of crazy. It's really difficult to switch, but it kind of makes you think about it is that a lot of times because of the way that these companies have kind of come out into the world and been adopted by customers is that it kind of makes you think, how do they build trust now versus how they used to build trust? Now, let me walk you through some examples. So just for reference, when I was running as a fractional CRO, I'd be running dozens and dozens of high growth revenue teams. This is sales, marketing, sales development, the revenue side of the organization. And in my role, I evaluated probably hundreds, if not thousands of technologies, implemented some myself with my own hands, and managed so many implementations across huge companies, small companies alike. And I've learned a couple things that could be very valuable, whether you're a buyer of technology or you're a seller. The lessons I learned might be helpful for you. And let's start with one company. When I was running a sales community of outbound sellers, I came across this one company that I thought was an absolutely fantastic alternative to the biggest company at the time in the space. And when I used their tool, it was easy, it flowed, it did all of the things intuitively that I thought the other tool that I was already strategically partnered with should have done. And it did it in such an accessible way. Their business model was fantastic. And I really liked the person I was dealing with who gave me the feeling of trust. I felt like he cared about my business. He cared about the members of the community. I co-led with another amazing founder, and he was really engaged. This gentleman gave me that trust and that feeling that he was going to be there for me. But as I started to look into it and learn more about the company, I recognized that this person that in all honesty, in my mind, I kind of assigned him as the founder or somebody that was really high up in the organization and had the authority to be my guy. So be the person that I could trust and call on any time. But as I started digging into the company a little bit more, I found out that it was an overseas crew that weren't public at all. They essentially hired a US-based frontman to act as kind of like their front end brand and then hide behind and not really talk to any customers. Something about this didn't seem right to me. I didn't think it was a scam. This was a real business and a really well-built product. And there's nothing wrong with hiring, a foreign domestic agent to increase adoption in a specific market. Lots of companies do it and they do it well. This company did that well. The thing is, though, is that there wasn't really any type of substance behind the business as far as I could see. Their support was mediocre. The access to people at the organization was limited. And at their stage, when they were a young, yet to be growing company, that you usually get a lot of that access. And again, I've done this hundreds, thousands of times. You usually get access when a company's new so that you can trust the entire team around it, not just the excellent front person, excellent salesperson. And it makes you think, why did they not scale? I mean, I've just answered it for you. in my opinion. There may be other reasons, but they never ever got to the level of other companies in their space, even though I'm going to say their product was superior and their salesperson, not team, was exceptional. It's because I bet a lot of other people felt the same way that I did, is that as they started to go deeper with this organization, they felt something was off, something was missing, and something that we're used to getting was just not there. So now I honestly don't even know if they're in business. They may be chugging along somewhere, but they definitely never became a household name. Let's contrast that with another type of technology company that recognized that their tool was extremely complex. There's two companies that I've personally partnered with. That's HubSpot CRM and Salesforce CRM. And both of these are incredibly complex technologies that can do so many amazing things to help your team, your sales team, your marketing team, your operations, support. They can do so many things, but most users only use about 10, maybe 20% of the functionality of that tool because they don't know how to use it. And it's really expensive to hire people to run it properly. Knowing this, Salesforce adopted this so well when they started. Even before I got really deep into Salesforce, it had already had a very healthy ecosystem of partners. And because they knew that this is complex, they would regularly, even part of the sales process, introduce you to strategic partners that would understand the technology fully, not employed by Salesforce, but they would be partnered with them and have their Salesforce certification so that they could actually develop on top of the platform. And what resulted was rapid growth for not only Salesforce itself, but also the partner companies that were supporting them and getting their customers on board happy and successful. And that ended up helping out a lot of companies. HubSpot adopted this model as well. Now, their software was from the start a lot more intuitive, easy, user-friendly, and even startup-friendly. So a small team could use HubSpot and do so many things that would take a really expensive software and a really expensive partner relationship to execute. But as they grew, as they added more features, they did a lot more things that required that personalized touch of a partner. Me personally, I actually was a partner of both of the companies. I love both teams, and they both really lived that trust. And that's why both of them are those household names everybody knows about. Take this forward now to today. You might have saw my video last week where I talked about an AI imaging company that operates in healthcare, and they've done the work to build trust in a notoriously picky buying situation. Healthcare organizations have stringent rules, stringent processes for evaluating and adopting new services, equipment, and suppliers, and especially around technology. There are regulations, there are a ton of risks that they have to mitigate, and they have to protect their patients from things like AI hallucinations, what have you. So this company actually went through the process of getting FDA clearance. But not only that, they also were able to get their technology as a line item on billing through Medicare. They're putting in the work right now as a company that wants to go out there and help people and get patients through triage faster and through to the right doctors and the right people. And they're doing it the right way. So what does that do? It takes this brand new technology adopted by AI, which has its own risks and its own stigma surrounding it right now. And they're building a durable business around it that leverages cool technology, but does it in a way that works within the systems that are there to protect the companies, the organizations, the hospitals, and most importantly, the patients. What these lessons should teach you is that trust is important. We covered that on a recent podcast, but it's not just trust for the sake of trust. It's using client trust, using customer trust in a strategic way to position a business that is going to get adopted and become a household name. At the very least, a name that all of the people in your specific target audience live in. So there's two parts to this conversation. If you're a buyer that is buying technology, don't be fooled by a cool demo. Take a look into the company and look at their reviews, customer complaints, and their history. You shouldn't penalize a company for being new. You should penalize a company for being new and not setting their business up the right way and not understanding your needs, your pain points, the challenges that you're overcoming each day that they're supposed to be fixing. They need to be knowledgeable about your business in so much how their tool, technology, service intersects with your business. Because the worst thing you can do is adopt a new flashy technology that demos cool, but has no idea how patients might interact, how customers might interact, how constituents might interact with this new tool. Or how about your staff? It's really important. So when you look at the complaints, if there are any, are they about the technology? Technology can be improved. If a company comes to you and they have technology complaints in the past, and they have a roadmap that's fixing those complaints, or they have new features that solve those complaints, that's not a problem. This is technology. Things are not always perfect, but they always do get better because engineers, I've never met an engineer that doesn't have an incredible brain, an incredible plan to fix the technological errors. But what about the support? How do customers speak about the company? Do they say it's adequate? Do they say nothing? That can be okay. Do they say a lot of negative things about their experience? That's a tell. Maybe support didn't pick up on time. Maybe they had billing issues. There are a number of different things you can look out for. But there's another thing. Look for praise, genuine praise. Look for named people. Hey, April was amazing when I went to your restaurant. She was so friendly. She was so intuitive. She took care of my every need before I even had to think about it. Those are the types of glowing reviews you see on Google, on Yelp, whatever. And those are the types of things that indicate that this is a company that is absolutely there to help you and to serve you. Those are the ones you want to look out for. The cost of switching technology, depending on the size of your organization, it can be as little as switching a button, switching this to that, no problem. But remember, when you're in any size organization, it's not just the cost of switching. It's switching your staff, your customers, and your partners all from one experience to a new experience. This is where gaps happen. This is where things get missed. So be careful. If you're partnering with somebody, make sure that they're trustworthy and that you can work with them for a long time. On the sales side, think about what I just told to the buyers. If you're selling technology, represent yourself truthfully, authentically. If there are skeletons in the closet, which most companies have, that's okay if you're upfront about it. If your technology has failed in the past, but you've made patches and fixes along the way, let your customers know that. Let them find out from you what happened, what was wrong, and what you did to fix it before they go find it on a review site. If support was lagging and that people weren't getting the support they needed from the company, let them know that you'll be there and your team will be there and that you have initiatives to improve the user experience. It's not about being perfect. You don't need to be perfect to be the best company. You just need to be clear and truthful with your customers and build the trust in the way that serves them and makes them feel confident that they can partner with you for a long time. And if you do so, you'll prevent that churn or close lost that nobody in technology ever wants to see. Let's just be real. Tech is a business. AI is just the latest form of that business. When customers adopt new technology, it's trust that closes the deal, but it's delivering on your promises that earns the renewal.